Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Woke Witch Tarot. For today's video, I thought it would be fun to do a little review, unboxing, and giveaway for the new Starseed Oracle. For those that don't know, the Starseed Oracle is an oracle deck that came out, I want to say about a week and a half ago, and I have had this on my wish list for months, ever since they announced that they were going to be putting this deck out. So I thought it would be fun to give you my thoughts on it and to give a deck away to one of you. I'll go ahead and review the deck and give you some instructions on how you can win this deck at the end of the video. As always, because I go so in depth on these decks, I always leave chapter time somewhere here on the left so that way you can fast forward to any particular part of the video that you are interested in watching. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Just a quick note, I always give this disclaimer when I'm doing a deck review. Tarot decks are something that are so incredibly personal. And because of that, what I like and what resonates with me in a deck might not be what works for you. The weight of a deck, the size of a deck, these things may or may not work for you. So I just give my honest opinions on the deck. In no way is what I say meant to encourage or dissuade you from buying the deck. They're just my honest thoughts. So if you are interested in buying the deck after the review, I have included a link down in the description below, where you can pick that up where I did. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So obviously, the name of the deck is the Starseed Oracle, and it is by Rebecca Campbell. The artwork is by Daniel Noel. And if you're not familiar, Rebecca Campbell is the creator of another very popular deck called the Work Your Light Oracle cards. So if you are a fan of this deck, then you probably are a fan of, you're going to be a fan of the Starseed Oracle. So if you aren't familiar with the history there, this also is a deck that she has come out with. And it looks like they have the same artist on both decks. I bought this deck on Amazon. Actually, to be clear, this was actually a gift for me, but I did buy an additional deck for a subscriber to win off of Amazon. And I paid $21.15. And I did get free shipping because my order was over $25. So I had a couple of other decks that I was really interested in getting, so I added those to the list. I don't believe that the $21.15 price gets you prime shipping, but again, if you just add something to your cart that's a couple of extra bucks, you'll be able to get the free shipping with this deck. It came out, and I want to say about 2 days after it came out was when I got the deck. So the delivery was pretty quick. It came in an Amazon box, and it was plastic wrapped, but I removed the shrink wrap because it can get a little bit annoying to get it off on camera, and you probably don't want to see that anyways. It was shrink wrapped, and this is the way that it came. So, right off the bat, it looks gorgeous. The cover is a semi-matte finish, and the lettering has this gold sheen. I'm going to move it around a little bit here so that you can see that a little bit better. And it's got this beautiful blue pastel, almost watercolor looking art cover with a woman kind of reaching up into the sky with her head on the cover. The design works itself all the way around the box, and it gives you a little preview of some of the cards inside of the deck on the box as well. It says here that it's a 53 card deck and guidebook, and on the back it states, activate your cosmic energy. Come home to your soul. We have a little preview of the other cards in the deck. And here, which I thought was really interesting with this V-shaped cutout, it has a little golden triangle there as well that repeats from the front. And it states, have you always had a longing for home without really knowing what that meant? If so, you could be a starseed soul. This activating oracle will help you to unlock your soul gifts, connect with your cosmic origins, and remember who you truly are. And at the bottom, it gives a little shout out to the artist and to the creator and some contact information for them there. As far as the size of the box, you're looking at 4 inches wide and about 5.5 inches tall. The thickness of this box is about just shy of 1.5 inches thick, so it's a meaty little box. Now, if you've seen the other reviews that I've done on this channel, you know that I'm a little bit iffy on certain boxes that decks come in. I like decks because I use them so often, and I want to keep them in their original box because I want them protected. I use them so often that sometimes specific types of packaging can make it very difficult to get in and out of the deck. So I'm curious with this design, which I've never seen. I don't think I've seen this on any other deck. Actually, strike that. The Mermaid Oracle deck, actually it's a tarot deck. It does have a unique box, but it's not shaped like this. So let's see how that plays in getting the cards in and out. So like I said, it has a very, very unique box. It's very solid. You can tell that they put a lot of work and a lot of thought into this design. So it feels really, really, like a quality product in your hand. And for $21 for a deck, you want something that feels like it's a quality product. When you buy a deck, for example, like the original Rider Tarot deck that I had started out with when I first started learning the tarot, when you're paying, let's say, $11 for a deck, you don't mind that it's just in a sleeve, that there's no book, that the quality isn't something that might last, because you know it's a beginner deck. And as you can see, this has obviously been through the ringer. I've used this so many times. But this one feels like incredibly solid quality. And when you look at the Work Your Light deck as well, this one opens top to bottom. It's got that same strong quality in the box. Now, when we open this up, it's got this triangle shape that fits the top to the bottom. And I have to say, it's very, very unique. When you get inside, you've got this beautiful inlay so that the lid can rest. And the pattern, that beautiful blue pattern, it looks like it travels, all the way around the box, which is really, really beautiful. The color itself, these soft pastels, there's like a very soothing feeling to the deck, which blues in general and just pastels in general kind of have that innocent, calming effect color-wise. So it's not surprising that I immediately feel kind of zen when I look at this deck, because the colors that she chose for this are just so gorgeous. They're nothing too in your face, but they're strong enough to give a visual impact. And so I really, really appreciate the ingenuity that came with the box and the beautiful color choices. It's nothing too harsh, nothing too bright. The box itself, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I mean, I like this. I like this a lot. And when I saw this online, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. Because again, it's like sometimes we get too creative with stuff and it gets difficult to get this stuff in and out of the box. But this one, it stands. And I really, really like that. I mean, I can put this, on the side of my desk here, and I can access it at any time. You could put it on a bookshelf. Like, you could display this. It is really that beautiful, and always have the cards in the book accessible. So kudos to this creator on making this wonderful box. It's so unique, but it works. It's not just there for the sake of looks. It actually is functional, which is so important. Yeah, I really, really like this box. Now, I'll give you the one downside, because I said I'm going to be honest. If you store this stacked with other tarot boxes, you risk this. Okay, so putting this away, you know, sometimes it'll cause the lid to come on and off. It's a minor thing, but I figured I'd point it out if you are somebody that likes to just stack all their decks in a row. Yeah, that can be a little bit annoying if you're pulling it off of a shelf or something and this lid keeps falling off. But other than that, I really like the design, and I feel like for people that are really into tarot, this would go great on a coffee table. It would look so beautiful on a bookshelf. So you could just leave it right side up like that and display it. It's really a great box. So let's get into what is inside of the box. So obviously we have our deck, and as I mentioned before, it's a 53 card deck, and you also get the book with it as well. So here's what comes inside. Now, as far as the deck itself, let's go ahead and give you the measurements on this, and then we'll go into the book. Actually, let's start with the book first. So the book is pretty compact. You're looking at 5 inches tall with the length of the book, 3.5 inches wide, and just shy of a 1/2 inch thick. It feels very weighty, even though it's a smaller book, so you know they've packed a lot of information in there. And the design of the artwork, once again, it repeats this beautiful pastel imagery that you see on the box, even inside the box. Look at that. That is attention to detail right there. You can see this here as well. Your heart is a portal is what it says. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The book itself, it's not colored, which is fine. I find that sometimes in order to get the color, you have to do glossy pages, and then that makes the pages stick. So it's a little bit wasteful to have a bunch of colored pages like that. It generally also makes the books thicker, which there can be a downside to that. So we have our table of contents, and then we have the card messages and interpretations. In the contents, you'll find a welcome, the origins, a description of what is a starseed, your heart is a portal, and then, you know, how to read for yourself and other people, using the oracle box as a technology. Interesting. And then some spreads for you in order to do messages. And then obviously the card messages and interpretations. I'm curious. Okay, so it looks like all of the cards are listed in alphabetical order, which I like. Whether the cards are numbered on the card and then you can just, you know, pull onto that page within the book, or they're listed in alphabetical order, it doesn't really matter as long as there is a system. There are some books where they'll put the card order by sign or by wand, cup. It just gets confusing, especially if you're a new beginner. If you're new to tarot, you're not going to know where to look in the book for the definition of the card. So I appreciate this simple alphabetical order in the table of contents, so that you can just go right to, okay, S, surrender to the sweetness, and then find the page that it's listed on. I kind of would appreciate too if, you know, when people make tarot decks in the future, if they could consider putting the number on the card that is the page number. It would just make it the easiest to find that in the book. Anywho. Okay, so each card is given a detailed explanation, And this is interesting. It tells you how to activate the card. So for example, the blue flame, it'll give you a definition, and then it'll tell you to place the card on the portal of your heart and whisper the following: I allow myself to surrender to the awakening process that's right for me. I take things slowly and integrate my experience each and every day. I really, really like that. How interesting. Again, just something that you don't see very often in these decks, and a really nice touch. A great way to get us to do these kind of affirmations and to actually, let the message resonate in our heart chakra. So the text is clear, it's concise, it's very easy to read. They didn't try to do any fancy fonts on this, which us visually impaired folks truly appreciate. It is very annoying when decks try to get fancy with the font, and then it makes it unreadable for people that have vision problems. So as a blind woman, thank you for keeping the text incredibly simple to read. So we have every card, their meaning. This one's interesting too. This one has an inquiry. How are you being called to share your soul's unique song? I really like how they did that. Let's see where they mention the spreads. Let's go back to the beginning here. Here we go. So here's the directions on how to read. I'm going to come back to this. Oh, I see. So you use the box. Wow, look at that. You use the actual box in order to do your reading. That is so interesting. So I'm definitely going to have to play around with that and kind of see how it is that people use the box. Look at that. Different spreads. Kudos for creativity. I mean, it's different. I like it. A lot of thought put into this. Okay, so that pretty much covers the book. It's your standard tarot book. There's nothing that I see in here that's a red flag. Everything is concise. There's a lot of information. It's organized well. It's got, again, like those very unique spreads where you can use the box to kind of do your reading. So I love it. I love, love, love. So far, so good with this deck. So let's go into the actual cards. This is what everyone's here for, right? So they're wrapped to keep them organized. And just to give you an idea of the size, these cards are 5 inches tall, and then they're 3.5 inches wide and just shy of 1 inch thick. Very similar to the Work Your Light deck. So if you have that deck, this is about the same size. I'm going to put a traditional Rider-Waite card here so that you can see the difference, and also one of the Work Your Light cards so that you can see that these are pretty much exactly the same size as the Work Your Light Oracle. And here is the Rider-Waite card. So a bit thicker, a bit taller. As far as the card quality itself, these are actually slightly thicker, and they have a better snapback than the Work Your Light, which is nice. We'll see how it plays in the shuffle, but definitely a card that is going to be sturdy, that's going to last you a while. Let me also give you, while I'm here, I guess I could just leave it in the pack. I want to give you, because these things might seem a little nitpicky to some people, but depending on your hand size, different sized cards affect how you can and can't shuffle the deck. So I'm going to put these alongside the Rider-Waite so you can see kind of the thickness. They're about the same, but they are wider. So keep that in mind. Because I'm a part of the big hand gang, just ridiculously, it's like God was like, look at a joke, your hand, the size of your hand, that is the joke, okay? So I have these very long fingers. So for me, operating with a deck like this isn't as difficult as it would be for somebody that has smaller hands. So keep that in mind. You might not be able to shuffle like this, right? If you have smaller hands with this particular deck. So you might need to do a side shuffle in order to shuffle them. The card itself, like I said, it feels like a really good quality. The edges are rounded, love, 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 and they're smooth. I cannot tell you how important it is to have these edges smoothed the way that this is smooth. If you are somebody that is thinking about making a tarot deck, I would highly recommend that you get this deck and feel the edges as a starting point on where your deck should be, because there's nothing more frustrating when you're working, especially when you work with a lot of decks like I do with my personal readings and obviously the stuff that I put here on YouTube. It's so frustrating when the edges are snagged and you get paper cuts as you shuffle the deck. Imagine, doing 5 readings in a day and you're constantly running these cards up against your hands and then you end up getting paper cuts all over if the decks aren't cut right. This is perfection. The way that these are cut, absolutely perfect. They're completely smooth. The edges are rounded. Again, like I can find no fault in that. The backs of the cards are very beautiful. I love this design. Sometimes people when the backs of the cards are like some weird afterthought, but this very much continues on with the theme of the cover of the box. So very, very nicely done. Simple but elegant, and it falls in line with the rest of the packaging. Yeah, this is pretty much just like the Work Your Light deck, even in the artwork, and then this blank space here where you can actually read the text instead of them putting that text over some kind of artwork and making it more difficult to read. So again, for us visually impaired folks, I really, really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get into trying to shuffle the decks. And then after I shuffle, I will pull every card out so that you can see every single card that is in this deck. And then I'll give you a close-up of the ones that really resonated with me just off of first glance. So let's see how they shuffle. Okay. So again, the fact that they're so smooth, I love that I'm not getting paper cuts. They're a new deck, so because they're so stiff, it's a little bit hard for me to bend them back in order to kind of get them back together. But that is something that with time, the deck itself will, it'll start getting a little bit more malleable, and that'll be easier to do. I know some people don't like to bend the cards back like that. I don't mind. I need to, shuffle quickly. I don't have time to keep doing this bit every time. So let me try that again. Another thing that I will mention about this deck is that it came loose. Have you ever gotten those decks that, especially with decks like this, with the decks that have these beautiful gilded edges, where they're all stuck together? This one didn't come like that, but there are a lot of decks that do that. They have these edges that are completely stuck, and you have to go through every single card and release it, unstick it from one another. Sometimes they're stuck together in packs like this, which can get a little bit frustrating. But yeah, they're already loose, so you don't have to do that, which is lovely. You can get the card, rip the box, get the deck, rip the box right open, and then you can play with it right away without having to do a bunch of stuff. So I really, really like that. Let's do some side shuffling. Let's see, what message do I need to hear today? What message do I need to hear today? Really, really nice They glide so nicely, but they're not so smooth that they slip. So this is really lovely. So I got Whale and Orca Elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. This doesn't surprise me because I'm a water sign. So getting the whale card or any water imagery card, to me, it just feels right at home. Let's see what the meaning is of it. $126. Okay. Whale and Orca Elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. The Whale and Orca Elders are benevolent cosmic beings here to anchor a frequency of love onto the planet, to harmonize it with their song. As they weave around the oceans, they do so much more than any of us know. Their physical presence affects Earth's magnetic field, and their harmonics call us to wake up and remember our own soul song. Looking into the eye of a whale is something you'll never forget. Whales see into your every being, and in an instant, you're changed forever. They see beyond the physical, the woundings, the identity, the personality, the story. They see right into your soul. If you pull this card, you're being called to surrender to your deepest truth and share it with potency. To bow to who you truly are, to stretch your heart wide enough to hold it all. To leave your fears, doubts, and baggage at the door, to question any part of you that doesn't feel good enough. The Whale and Orca Elders want you to give others the privilege of seeing who you truly are, and for you to see the same in other beings, to drop your hang-ups and personality flaws and get busy revealing the unique note your soul came here to sing. Allow the song that echoes in the four chambers of your heart to emanate in all four directions. Peel back the layers of suffering and pain and reveal to others your soul's true song, and endeavor to see the soul of all those you meet. The Starseed Soul Inquiry at the bottom reads, how are you being called to share your soul's unique song? Well, that absolutely was beautiful. It definitely resonated. I mean, with this channel alone, I'm definitely trying to make those changes in my life, to open up, to be more vulnerable, to share my song with the world. So, absolutely lovely. So here are the cards that are in the deck. They're obviously in no particular order because I have shuffled the deck. Oh, that is beautiful. You Got the Love. That reminds me of that Florence and the Machine song, You've Got the Love. Ah, it's so beautiful. Such a beautiful deck. It just makes you feel good. Oh, that's unique. It's just a black card with a dot that looks like Earth there in the distance. Interesting. Perspective. Oh, that's a good one. This looks borderline psychedelic. Wow. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom you into some of the ones that really resonated with me. Again, I'm not sure of the meanings just yet, but I will certainly learn as I go through the deck and kind of get familiar with it. But these are just the ones that really stood out to me. Here are just a few of the ones that really stood out to me. Look at that portal card. My goodness. Doesn't that just look psychedelic in the background there? I love it. These dark cards as well, there's something with the imagery being so pastel and pink in the other cards, it really makes them stand out, the darker cards. I also really appreciate the diversity in the models. Us readers of color, we tip our hat to you for, being inclusive in the models that you choose to put on your deck. Gorgeous, gorgeous cards. Look at that. I mean, it looks almost reflective, the quality of that, the artwork. It just pops. Okay, everyone, so that was the review and my overall thoughts on the Starseed Oracle deck and guidebook. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would highly recommend this deck to anybody, especially if you're a beginner and you don't want to learn the 22 major and 56 minor arcana in a deck. You just kind of want a little bit of inspiration, some affirmation in your life. These cards are excellent for that. Of course, if you're doing pick a card readings like this and you have a channel yourself, or if you're reading for others, again, like this deck is just very, very impressive. There's nothing wrong with the deck. Aside from this box, sometimes opening on its own, I have no complaints about this. Wonderfully done. I would highly recommend it. If you're interested, I've placed a link down below. And if you are also interested in the giveaway, it is very easy to enter. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and then leave a comment down below, either on what you think of the video, that you're a new sub, if the deck resonates with you, what your favorite deck is, whatever comment you'd like to leave. The only reason I ask for the comment is because sometimes people keep their subscriptions private. So if you subscribe, I can't see that if you have those settings set that way. And I'd hate for you to subscribe and not be entered because your information isn't available to me to put inside of the randomizer that picks whichever name randomly to win the deck. So leave a comment down below. And I will be giving this deck away to anybody within the United States. We'll give it until next Wednesday, and I will announce the winner then. So good luck if you are here for the giveaway. If you don't win, don't stress, don't worry. I do these all the time, and I plan on doing these all the time. Weekly, every 2 weeks roughly, I will be giving something of value away to my subscribers. So stick around. If you don't win this deck, maybe you'll win the other one, okay? If this is where I leave you, thanks so much for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. I've got tons of other content on the channel that you might be interested in as well. So feel free to peruse the list of videos and the other pick-a-cards and the other deck reviews that I have here as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great new year. I will see you in the next video. Bye.